welcome to our candidates and welcome to people in the audience. One thing we've learned, as I say, with our new technology is that it requires us to kind of roll with the punches and be patient. So thank you very much. There are 7 candidates vying for 3 positions for the Gridley City Council, and we are very happy to have 3 people with us tonight. We have Jay Angel Calderon, Jessica Ramos-McElroy, and Catalina Sanchez. My name is Linda McMichael, and I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters of Butte County. One of the hallmarks of the League of Women Voters, which just celebrated its 100th anniversary, is doing anything we can possibly do to promote democratic engagement. And we do believe that these forums are one of the best things that we can do. So we want to get started, and we are going to give you 2 minutes for your introductory remarks. We're going to give you 1 minute to answer questions. We have 6 questions, and we will give you 1 minute for your closing remarks. Oh, yes, Claire needs the panel. Okay, and Claire has the panels, and she'll keep you on track. But you look like a real compliant group, so I know that you're gonna be great. Okay, so we drew names to see the order in which people would go, and Ms. Sanchez, you came out first, so you may start your introductory remarks for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Catalina Sanchez. I've grown up in Gridley my entire life, and I've always been interested in community service and volunteerism, and I feel with that was, what elevated me to really want to focus on studying politics and history. And for me, I was able to transition that into what I ended up studying at Chico State, which is political science. And luckily, I was able to get an internship in Sacramento, where I was working for a then assembly member at the time. And then I was able to transition into the state senate. And there I truly have begun to really understand how the sausage is made with government and what the role of the people truly is in being able to connect with their city and state government to really speak up and say what are their concerns, what are their problems, how can government work with our residents to really provide support, provide, working and improved roads. And, now in my current position as a lobbyist, we don't work for the evil special interest. What I do in my current position is work for nonprofits, where I'm able to advocate for privacy protection, like on your cell phone, on health data. I work on tax reform issues. I also work on banking regulations and consumer financial protection. And for me, I want to be able to leverage my Sacramento experience to really bring Gridley to the negotiating table here in Butte County and in Sacramento. For far too long, we haven't been able to have, fresh ideas and a fresh perspective. And I believe that I can bring that to Gridley. We need to begin to set Gridley up for a post-COVID economy. And in order to do that, I want to, again, be able to leverage my experience, because government should not be this disconnected community.
Oh, lost.
Muted.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know where I left off. I want to be able to connect our residents to their government, and I want them to feel comfortable and confident that, their city council is being active with them in sharing their concerns and working together to really, again, bring Gridley to the negotiating table to get more state and federal funding and not just one-time funding. And again, I believe that I
think your time is up. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
Okay.
Are we gonna do like a time? 1 minute or no?
So you have 2 minutes for your introductory and 1 minute to answer the questions and 1 minute for your closing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, if you put it in gallery view, then you can see Claire.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
Sorry.
I would have known. Sorry, I didn't have it like that.
As I say, patience. That's our new operative word, patience. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Ramos-McElroy, you are next. 2 minutes for your opening.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Jessica Ramos-McElroy. I live in Gridley. I've lived here for just a couple years now, and before we purchased our home here, we had only been here a few times and just fell in love with the scenery, the size of the community, and we had just kind of heard some good things about this area. So this is where we decided to plant some roots. I do have 4 children. My older son is in the military. He's in the Navy, so I'm a Navy mom. And I think that with his journey into the military, it helped me realize some of the different things that are missing from our community that I would like to see here in Gridley. There were a couple bigger reasons that led me to running for city council. I started going to meetings about 4 months ago with different suggestions and concerns that I had for people in my community. I felt that I wasn't being heard, and I was willing, and I did try to work with our current group to make some changes to help benefit our community, and I didn't see what I liked. So that's why I decided to run myself. Some of the things I'm focused on is making sure that we live in a community that has reasonable rates for everyone that lives here, not just a select few neighborhoods. Everyone here should feel welcome, and everyone has the right to reasonable rates in their living with utilities that are provided by our city. I do believe in community service. I've had several different roles where I've served my community for years at a time. I have worked as a PTA president. I've been the psychology club president of Butte College for both campuses. In that tireless, thankless work, I have felt that I could bring that to my community and help serve Gridley with all of the different ideas that I have to make our community a little bit better. Thank you so much. I'm really excited about tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Calderon.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me. My name is Angel Calderon, and I basically grew up in Hamilton City, which is in Glenn County. I've been living in Gridley for the last 25 years. I actually ended up coming at a point where it was really difficult for Gridley. A lot of gang activities, a couple of killings, 3 killings, stabbings, and things like that. So members of my church and I decided to create a program to improve the quality of life for our children in Gridley. And thank God, I believe we have succeeded because the gang situation in Gridley has decreased. I am here basically to represent people that I see that they don't have a voice, especially when the city council takes action on certain issues, like raising the electricity, and finding people for leaving their trash cans out too long. People who are the elderly, the disabled, who have to live on fixed incomes and can barely afford now rent and other utilities. These are the people that I'm invested and committed to represent at the City Council.
Thank you very much. And before we get started with our questions, several audience members have written in to ask where the other candidates are. And we did reach out to the candidates and they were unable to attend. So we're sorry they aren't here. So that's to answer the audience questions. Okay, well, let's get started. And our first, this question is going to go to Ms. Ramos-McElroy. So the Gridley City Council mission statement says that the purpose of the City Council is to continuously enhance the community's vitality and overall quality of life. What do you think the top 3 priorities should be for the City Council this coming year?
I think the #1 priority of our city is to regain that sense of community. I feel that at this time there's a lot of division throughout our town, and I think that that's probably the first thing that we should work on. There's a couple different ways that we can approach that. I think that, of course, by offering more community engagement by our city council, encouraging people to show up. One of the things that I would love to see is to be able to have our meetings streamed online to be able to be accessible to everyone, not just those that are fortunate to have enough time to show up. Something else that I think that will definitely benefit our community, as I said previously, is to keep our rates reasonable. At this time, we're paying quite a bit too much for the services that we're receiving. And I think that something that will overall benefit our community as well is working on the issues that we have within our city limits before expanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Calderon, so we're looking for your top 3 priorities on City Council this coming year.
One of the first priorities is to actually ensure that the county services agencies that are supposed to provide services to the Gridley population actually deliver the service. That's the number one. And I'm talking about the pandemic and how we were neglected as a community. And you could see this by the high numbers of people who got infected by COVID-19. So some of these agencies need to really be accountable for the welfare of our citizens. The other one is actually to improve services to the elderly, to make them as accessible to all the basic needs that they have in their community. Transportation, maybe subsidies for electricity in case they're barely making ends meet.
Thank you. Ms. Sanchez?
Yes, thank you. So for me, the 3 priorities, if elected come November, is economic freedom. So that ties into being able to provide more jobs. So that would mean, as a city council member, I want to be accessible, I want to be visible, and I want to be active. I want to be able to ensure that my community knows, hey, Catalina and her council colleagues are being active and reaching out to entrepreneurs and reaching out to business owners to set roots here in Gridley, California. And we want to be able to create more local-based jobs so families can keep more money in their pockets at the end of the day and not have to spend money, and having to travel out of town to Chico or Sacramento to have funds, to be able to have a livable wage. Secondly, I want to be able to offer workforce development for our community, being able to bring resources where people can gain experience and training in manufacturing jobs and healthcare. And lastly, I want to be able, just like Angel said, tie in and show results. And for me, again, that's going to tie into how active our council is, and I will be active as your councilwoman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next question. If elected, what 3 steps would you take to put Gridley on a firmer financial footing? And Mr. Calderon, you will be answering first.
One of the first things I would like to do is to engage the participation of the people who actually are the business heads in the area. Bring business into Gridley. We had a number of businesses leave the area. The cookie factory moved to Nevada. The other packing house of lawns actually also left the area. So we really need to find a way to keep our businesses in Gridley and make it attractive to them. We also need to understand that we have a really good, has a good work ethic where really hardworking people live and have a really good standard of life, except the elderly. And we need to make also business available to them if that is possible.
Thank you. Ms. Sanchez, we're looking for steps for financial footing.
Yes, thank you. So, and for steps in financial footing, again, is having a council that's very active. We need to be active and, reaching out to a lot of either local or regional or state businesses and have, being able to set up those meetings to have those tough conversations. What can Gridley provide to these entrepreneurs and small business owners to set roots here? And again, that's going to be having those dialogues, and that's going to take time, whether 1 or 2 years. But as I said, as your councilwoman, I will be significantly active in reaching out and not being afraid, being confident to reaching out to these business owners and having those conversations. And again, also, I want to be able to have our city council and our city as a whole, whether it be with our Chamber of Commerce or our recreational department, to have more of an active relationship with local industries, such as, our hospital association, our building trades, our law enforcement, and like the Butte College Firefighter and Paramedic Academy, to be able to entice and encourage folks that they have jobs and training available. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ramos-McElroy?
Yes, if you can please repeat the question.
Absolutely. What 3 steps would you take to put Gridley on a better financial footing?
Something that I would suggest starting, something that I would want to do, is within our own businesses in our community, is working with business owners to see what kind of opportunities we can offer to our younger community. So at this time, there are several different programs prior to COVID where students would be able to do medical-like externships at our hospital. It'd be really neat to see some of our local businesses working together with youth and families, not only building that sense of community, which of course is important, that I feel again is not here at this time, but I think that's something that would help not only with job experience with the student, it would help bring business towards that small business by that family and others that hear positive results from this. I also think that that sense of community is going to help us be seen and be known, and know that when you see this group of people, they are working towards something that wants everyone to be unified and moving forward together. Thank you.
Probably the system will work better if you put yourself on mute when you're not speaking. So just have to remember to unmute yourself. Okay, next question up. Certainly Butte County, all of the towns and cities in Butte County have faced so many challenges lately, and different challenges for different communities. So what do you think are the top 3 challenges facing Gridley at this moment in time? And we will be starting with Ms. Sanchez.
Yes, so for me, the 3 challenges that face our town is obviously, again, the economy. We need to be able to bring jobs. And I know that that's been the same narrative since I was a kid, growing up through school, just like the Gridley pool, right? It's something that has always existed. There's an issue there, and we haven't been able to bring actual meaningful solutions. And as your councilwoman, I will do that. Again, having those conversations, one. Secondly is being accessible. But when we talk about accessibility, that entails other things, being visible and showing results. And with that, that's what I can do. Thirdly is, again, engaging our community and having those tough conversations, whether it be on economic issues, on social cultural issues, race issues, and also just being able to build that community and having that dialogue to see what is it that our community needs. And with that, we need to be active as a council to have those tough conversations and find out what the problems are and what we can do together to solve them. Thank you.
Ms. Ramos-McElroy? Mute. I think you're on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Absolutely. What do you believe are the top 3 challenges facing Gridley today? Oh, sorry. Is that? Oh, yeah. Top 3 challenges facing Gridley today.
Okay. I think that it would be amazing to see our city leaders working together to set a better example for our community in the time that is COVID. COVID-19 unfortunately has affected us all in a pretty negative way. Everybody's hurting, our small businesses. Parents are struggling because now they've become at-home teachers while trying to juggle their own job and, of course, maintain their own priorities on top of everything else that is being a parent. But I would love to see our city leaders acknowledging that, 1, COVID is an issue, it's real, and 2, that by working together, we can overcome this. This division isn't going to get us anywhere, and it shows because right now we're not allowed to dine in. We all have to dine out, and I know we all want to get back in there and see our friendly faces. It doesn't answer everything of the question, but I just have to bring it back again to unity. There's a lot of division at this time, and it needs to get better, and we need a different group of people to help set that example for our community. Right now, it's absent.
Mr. Calderon, the top 3 challenges.
Well, the first one I mentioned is actually that the county agencies really establish their presence in the city. We as Gridleyans, we have a very open door, open arms policy. We embrace people, we help people. And sometimes some agencies forget about us. And I'm talking about the pandemic again. We had a tremendous amount of people infected, and we had very few resources. The other thing, we need to bring companies in. We need to bring in businesses so that all people can work, because the farm work, the agricultural work is changing, and it's changing in the way we don't need too many people to pick fruit anymore. They're changing the variety. So the challenge is there to bring in businesses so people can work. And also youth. Youth need to have a really solid program. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our next question. What should the city of Gridley be doing to provide shelter for the unhoused? And we will start with Ms. Ramos-McElroy.
Gridley is a town that doesn't seem to be affected as heavily as other towns in our county by homelessness and those that are without their own place to rest every day. I think that we have plenty of available space in our community, that if we could pull resources together, or perhaps some type of state or federal funding to help create a sanctuary like that, it would be nice. I know that it wouldn't be as utilized as one would be like in Chico or in another larger area that is more affected by homelessness, but it's something that I see that is possible for the town of Gridley. We can't ignore that these people exist. Right now, our numbers are small. However, you know, with the right circumstances or natural disasters, that number could be much, much bigger, and it wouldn't hurt to have a plan in place for those people to rest their head when it's needed.
Thank you. Mr. Calderon?
I am very concerned about the situation with housing in Gridley. I know people who are almost to the point of losing their homes since the pandemic started. They haven't been able to make the bills, and we will have probably a housing issue very, very soon, a crisis. I have seen people, families actually, homeless a couple of years ago. And this is the other thing I need to really stress before I run out of time. A couple of years ago, we received a grant application for housing, for shelter, 7 days before the deadline. That is not acceptable. This is what I'm talking about. We need to make sure that the agencies respect us enough to give us plenty of time to apply.
Ms. Sanchez?
Yes, as my 2 other fellow candidates mentioned, we need to be proactive. So luckily, Gridley has not experienced a significant homelessness issue or lack of housing for a lot of folks. I believe that about at least more than half of the folks in town do have a mortgage or are homeowners, and you know, about 40% are renters. But again, you know, as the council, we need to be proactive and not reactive. And in order to do that, we need to start building those relationships with either nonprofit associations or our county, and especially with our state and Sacramento leaders, whether, you know, across both sides of the aisle, in order to start having those conversations about what type of funding is available that we can tap now to prepare In case we do face the homelessness issue, or what type of funding could be possible in the future situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is, if you're the successful candidate, how do you plan to go about engaging your constituents in Gridley city planning? And we will start with you, Mr. Calderon.
Well, I already talked to a number of people who invited me to apply. They think I'm approachable. I've been working in the public sector for the last 25 years in Gridley. So I'm very available to anyone, and I volunteer many hours. They know I'm available. They know that they can count on me. I have the idea to bring people, make focus groups to address certain issues that come up, such as the financial part, the bringing in business, restaurants. We lost a restaurant that we loved so much. Now they bankrupt. We need people to actually brainstorm ideas to bring in, and I believe we have the people available. And I feel that they trust me enough that they can actually count on me to hear them out.
Thank you. Ms. Sanchez, engaging with your constituents.
Yes, thank you for the question. So for me, definitely in engaging our constituents, it's going to be very vital in order for me to be a successful council member. I want to be able to be active, I want to be seen, and I want to be able to show our community that we are engaging and doing our job. That's going to mean being especially more significantly present on social media, on all platforms. It's going to be, do we need to go out a newsletter? Whether it be by an individual council member or as a council as a whole, in order to show and demonstrate, what is the monthly issue or the monthly topic of the day. Again, it's, do we need to make personal phone calls to folks? Do we need to hold events? Obviously with COVID, we need to be more mindful about social distancing and ensuring public safety. But again, it's working with our colleagues in order to ensure that we are present and that our entire community, regardless of race, income level, occupation, ability or disability, that they know that, they can count on their council to be active in order to have those connections with them and have them feel that sense of community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ramos-McElroy.
Thank you. Something that right now our city does not have is a fully functioning city website. Many of the links that are on the website are broken. They send you to error pages and they do not allow you to complete what you went to the city page for. This was a concern that I brought up at several different meetings this year and was referenced to other social media pages that are on Facebook. I myself am not an active social media person, so I feel that it's safe to assume we have a good amount of people in our town that are not actively on social media. So the city of Gridley really should hold itself responsible for being a hub of information that can reach all of its residents consistently and regularly. And just like Catalina had referenced a moment ago, that we would have something that people can go to and know what's going on, what is the current problem. I mean, that's a great thing to point out. And right now the city of Gridley does not have that. That is something that I would work on immediately and even take ownership of it if no one else wanted to help with that.
Okay, thank you. So this is the final question that we have before we go to your closing statements. And Mr. Calderon, we're going to start with you. And that is, there are 7 candidates running for three slots on the city council. And tell us what makes you stand out.
I don't know about that. Probably my accent sometimes makes me stand out. But I believe that a lot of people know me enough, and I volunteer so many times in so many different issues and areas. I serve the city. I've done my best to improve the quality of life for our city. So I have a lot of people who know me, and they know me, and they know that I'm approachable, and they know that I can help. And most important, I'm a good listener. I listen to people. I'm trained as a listener to begin with. So that is something that I will try to carry into the city council.
Ms. Sanchez? Oh, Ms. Sanchez?
Yes. Oh, for me, it would be being able, again, like Angel, is being accessible, but also very much having a willingness to listen to all sides of an issue, regardless if I agree with, an individual or an organization or a movement. I, as a council member, should be able to surround myself with people that think differently from me, who have different circumstances and backgrounds than me, because I need to educate myself in order to make truly informed decisions based on all of the facts, on all of the issues, and honestly on a lot of our community, their personal experiences. And I need to be able to engage with our community in order to truly understand what is going on, in order to make government decisions based on appropriate facts. And with that, that's what I offer as a candidate, is that I'm going to be one to really ask the questions, to research, and to prepare, because that's my job. Being on the city council would be, like I said, a second full-time job. And for me to be successful, I want to be able to engage with people. Thank you.
Ms. Ramos-McElroy?
Thank you. For myself, bringing to city council, I would be someone that I feel has a good awareness and understanding of what community needs are. I've worked in healthcare for over 10 years, mainly working with patients that are disadvantaged, working on very limited means, and we're having to figure out an impossible medical piece of how we're going to get this person coverage for the things that they need, and it's not going to break their pocket, or that it's actually going to be covered by their insurance plan. With all of that experience and having to use those analyzing skills, I think it's something that when I come to the city council table, I have that awareness of what our community is going through, because I see it all the time. I have seen it. These are examples I've brought up myself in advocating for my fellow neighbor, my patients, my friends and family that live here. Not everyone comes from the same financial background, and we all need to be aware of that. So when we're making decisions that affect everyone's pocket, we have to keep those different situations in mind.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to our 1 minute closing, and we will, you want 2 minutes? Yes. Oh, 2, yeah. So we can do 2 minutes. We have sufficient time. So how about 2 minutes to give us some more information about yourself, and we'll start with Ms. Sanchez.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for participating and being here today. I hope that you've been able to learn a little bit about me. I believe that I can bring and leverage my Sacramento experience. I understand that politics and our state government is something that is causing a lot of people heartburn, right? And, I know that a lot of the issues that are facing our society today, especially, here in Gridley, cause a lot of heartburn. And it's going to be tough having those difficult and sensitive conversations. And I'm willing to be able to leverage my Sacramento experience, leverage, me growing up here in Gridley, from a bulldog to being a taxpayer. I understand the issues, and I want to be able, again, to bring Gridley to that negotiating table. Here in the county, working with our county officials in Sacramento, working with our North State representatives in the state Senate and the state assembly. And if needed, we should go all the way to Washington, D.C. and work with our Congress representative in order to ensure that we can set up Gridley for a post-COVID economy, and to be able to, not be reactive, but be proactive. And again, I want to be able to leverage my experience, government and being able to have that sense of community with your city council should not be something foreign, should not cause people heartburn. It should be able to provide our community a sense of security and a sense that, my local government, my city council is working for me. They're going to work in order to fix the pool, because, the pool has been an issue since I was a kid. They're going to work to bring more funding so that we can get more better roads, to get more resources and activities at the local parks, to be able to provide our schools with more funding so that they can, improve their facilities, improve broadband access. And for me, I believe that I can bring that to everyone here in Gridley and set Gridley up to be a regional player in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Calderon, 2 minutes.
Well, as I said before, I grew up in this area and this region. Glenn County, Butte County. After college, I ended up living in Sacramento for a long time. However, when I came to Gridley, I didn't want to live in Gridley, but I learned to love Gridley because I found a tremendous people. One of the most respectful communities that I ever worked in and lived in. And I believe that I can bring something good to the city. I've already done in my own way, volunteer, and I think I contribute to the present well-being of the citizens there. We haven't had a drive-by shooting in over 10 years. Isn't that great? So this is something that I've already done, and I will continue to address issues like that. I also believe that a city is an organization that is designed actually to provide services to its people, to the residents. And on top of that, I believe that the city, from my point of view, has to take care of those residents who have a hard time accessing the services, paying for them, going to them, expressing their ideas, their right to free speech, the right to assemble, to be heard in a meeting. Those are the issues that I'm concerned about. And I will continue to bring them, and I will do my best to bring all the ideas into the table at the city council. And I'm willing, and I will work with anybody who is at the city council, regardless of their background, regardless of their political philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ramos-McElroy?
Thank you. In serving city council, I think it's important to remember that this is a nonpartisan role in our community. And oftentimes when personal political preferences get in the way, I believe it holds our community back. At this time, we are in a sensitive position with, again, COVID-19 impacting pretty much every single one of us in some way or another. I think that with a different mindset, as far as working with our governor and state officials, whether they belong to your personal party preference or not, is very important in the progression of moving forward and helping our residents come above this crisis. This doesn't have to be what succumbs us. We can overcome this as long as we work together. And I keep referencing the need for unity and the need for commitment and working together. It's so hard to move forward when it's just yourself advocating for this. And I think with the right set of people who have that positive mindset, putting it out there to our community that, hey, this is what the situation is and what we need to do to overcome it so that we can get our normal lives back. I think that being seen and being heard by your town is important, and that's something that I don't feel I have the opportunity to do right now. I started going to these meetings because I wanted there to be a change in my community, and the change that was offered was not enough. And so that's why I decided to run for city council. And if I am elected and I have earned your vote to that seat, it's going to be like another job for me. It's not going to be when it's convenient or only those meetings that, you know, are held a few times a month. I will actively be working for my community and making sure that everyone is represented equally and that no one's forgotten about. We all have the right to be here. We live in a great country and we have an amazing town. Let's embrace it.
Thank you. So this
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you for your willingness to run for public office as well. This concludes our Gridley City Council Forum. We thank our panelists. We thank everybody in the audience, and we would just like to leave you with one thought: please vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Oh, I'm supposed to say one thing, Voters Edge. Yes, please go to votersedge.org for more information.